Good morning, everybody. It is Weather with Sim again. I hope you guys are all having a great day so far. And in today's video, we have another storm system that's going to be coming to the United States, which may bring a threat for severe weather as we head into the end of next week. Not the end of this week, but the end of next week, okay? And we'll have to really watch that storm system very closely because it could definitely bring a severe weather threat, like I said. But I do want to show you guys that we actually don't really have any threats for thunderstorms across the United States. Besides, we actually do have a general risk for thunderstorms. I meant to say severe thunderstorms, but we still got a small risk for thunderstorms on day 2, which will be for Thursday into Friday. So we'll have to keep an eye on that risk right there for severe weather. Any other days, we don't really have any threats for thunderstorms, including today. So we'll have to still watch closely. And like I said, we could see a threat for severe weather develop, and that will really depend on how these storms really play out. But yeah, like I said, no thunderstorms or anything like that, so not really concerning to me. Now, if we look at your guys' excessive rainfall outlook, as you guys can see on day 1, which is today, as you guys can see, we actually do have a threat for flash flooding across portions of southwest Oregon heading into northwest California. It's very, very, very small threat for flash flooding. It's not scattered, it's not widespread, so it's a very, very small threat for flash flooding, and it's low, so we don't really expect much flash flooding to occur here. On the other hand, it's not even concerning a little bit to me. So if you guys do live in this area, which you guys probably don't, make sure to be aware of flash flooding if you do, though. And this does include mainly the forest area, so Six Rivers National Forest. Brookings. It even includes Brookings. That's probably the most populated city in this marginal risk, but even Crescent City is included in this. So I mean, a few cities, but mostly just forests is included in this marginal risk for flash flooding today, which doesn't make it that concerning to me, but it will still be something to watch closely for. Now, if we look at your guys' climate predictions and outlook, as you guys can see, for the northern United States, we are definitely seeing those chances for above average temperatures ramp up quite a bit, especially across the northern Ohio Valley heading into New England, and then back into parts of the Great Lakes region, and as well as the upper Midwest. So really seeing those chances for above average temperatures ramp up quite a bit. And then as we go to the southern part of the United States, as you guys can see, actually looking quite above average too as well. Look at that pinkish color right there. That heads all the way down into Florida. So I mean, I looked at Orlando, Florida's weather, and it actually showed 80 degrees there, guys. That is well above average for the winter time frames, and it might even be sunny there during that day too as well. So I mean, definitely looking very hot there in Florida. So if you guys do live in Florida, you might actually want to put some sunscreen on and stuff like that, because I'm not joking. We could actually be talking about hot weather there in Orlando, like literally 80 degrees, guys. So I mean, Florida is usually warm anyway. It doesn't really make me a whole lot of concern, but they are above average, so I mean, it will definitely be pretty hot there for sure. So I definitely don't recommend going outside without any sunscreen. So we'll see about that. But yeah, and now we're gonna go ahead and look at the 8 to 14 day outlook actually, and as you can see, just the eastern United States included in above average, at least much above average. And then for your precipitation, we do have that big area for above average, especially across the plains heading into portions of the Mississippi Valley, and then this next area really heading from California back through parts of the Ohio Valley, and then into a little bit of the deep south. And then the 8 to 14 day outlook, we got just this big area of above average precipitation heading from the plains into the deep south, and then up there towards the lower Ohio Valley. And now, if we look at your guys' radar now, as we continue to take this forward, as you guys can see, we'll start to see kind of a snowstorm move through the Ohio Valley. So it starts out with some light snow across eastern Kentucky, and then it continues to get more widespread across, let's say, Indiana, Ohio, and then even a lot of other states. And then as we continue to take this forward, we'll see another storm system move through that may bring mixed precipitation up to the north, while we are seeing a bunch of rainfall farther down south. And what was interesting with the European model is it actually showed a bunch of these like small isolated bean storms, which might end up bringing a threat for severe weather across some of those areas. And look, some of those storms actually head into portions of Indiana. So I mean, for my opinion, I think we could see a big risk for severe weather. Let's see here. Let's take this back real quick. I don't think I can when I'm using my pen, but I think this will be the area to watch the most, at least for some severe storms. So this will definitely be a pretty big risk for severe weather, guys. This is pretty crazy, by the way. And then I think the slight risk will be in this area right here. So we'll have to watch these two areas extremely closely. I don't know if we will see a severe weather threat or not. We're heading really far out, at least, let's see, 100 or even 200 hours out. So that's very uncertain by this point. But as we continue to take this forward, let's see, I kind of gotta move it again first or for it to work. But yeah, from where I drew it, it actually does look like that's gonna be the area to watch very closely. And I even had that slight risk right here. So I mean, definitely looking certain on how I drew the threats for severe weather. And then look, even more pop-up storms firing. So I mean, definitely looking like an unbelievable storm, because I mean, it's just developing storms, and more storms, and that could definitely bring a severe weather threat. Like I said, we'll have to watch for maybe an enhanced risk for severe weather, but I don't know if it's gonna be that significant again. It's just really far out, so we really don't know how it's going to play out. So you don't need to keep that in mind yet, but we will definitely keep you guys updated on what the severe weather threat could still look like, or we just won't see a severe weather threat at all. But if we look at your guys' total rainfall, as you guys can see, we do have that flash flood threat in parts of California, and actually looking pretty big, by the way. Look at that, guys. Wow. Look at all of that rainfall that California could really have. And by the way, I forgot to tell you guys this, but we're not going to go back to it, but there was a threat for flash flooding across this whole area right here on day 5. That was a slight risk for flash flooding. So I mean, definitely looking quite active across these areas over here in California, even getting into western Oregon and then western Washington. We even see another area that could get some pretty good rainfall too as well. Kind of shaped like a lightning bolt a little bit, but I mean, we could even see thunderstorms across this area too. So that kind of makes sense that it is shaped like a lightning bolt a little bit. But not necessarily though. And I mean, yeah, definitely looking quite active for sure across this area too as well. We'll have to watch for at least one marginal risk for flash flooding. At least that's going to be the main concern to me, so we'll have to keep an eye on that. And now your total snowfall, as you guys can see, we actually don't really see a whole lot of snowfall across parts of Indiana. Besides, we might be able to see at least around an inch if you head to Indianapolis or farther north. But even getting back into Ohio, those snowfall totals are really starting to ramp up a little bit higher. But look at eastern Kentucky, guys, at least in the mountain ranges, including Lexington, Kentucky. We are really seeing those snowfall totals ramp up a lot there, and we could see as high as 4 inches in Pikeville, Kentucky. So I mean, definitely enough to be going sledding. I don't know about skiing yet, but you might be able to go skiing in at least the higher elevations in West Virginia if you do live in western Kentucky, or I mean eastern Kentucky rather. So it doesn't look like western Kentucky will see any snow at all by this point, but eastern Kentucky seems to get pretty hard with snowfall for sure. And then even getting into portions of New England, really really seeing those snowfall totals ramp up too as well, especially around the Watertown and Buffalo area right there. So we'll have to really watch that area very closely, and this heads all the way out to January 23, and that was the same thing with the total precipitation, just in case you were wondering. But yeah, definitely looking quite active for sure, especially across this area right here. We're gonna go ahead and draw it out, especially across this area. Yeah, definitely looking quite active for sure. So if you deal in that area, definitely looking like a good place to go sledding, maybe some skiing, especially in areas that have a little bit higher snowfall. Now, as we start taking a look at the GFS model, I want to show you guys something very interesting that the GFS model showed, and it's actually playing the storm system out very different, okay? The European model was not showing the snowstorm being like this, but if you look at this, guys, showing some heavier snow across portions of Indiana and or southwest Indiana rather, but still showing a little bit heavier snow in even northern Indiana. So I mean, showing definitely some decent snow across southern Indiana, in northern Indiana, and then that will continue to get heavier, and then we start to see that widespread area of snowfall move through all of Indiana, all of Ohio, entire Ohio Valley, and then back to parts of, let's say, Kentucky, West Virginia, and then back to Tennessee, and then that will head out as a bunch of snowfall for places like New York City, which could bring an inch or two of snowfall there, and then as we continue to take this forward, we actually might end up seeing another freezing rain event across this area. We're not going to look at the total freezing rain, but I assume we're going to see at least around 2/10 of an inch right there, at least around a 1/4 inch, and then that freezing rain area will continue heading into places like northern Indiana, northern Ohio, and then even portions of central Illinois, and even around the Chicago region could definitely be talking about some rainfall too as well, at least some freezing rain. And then as we continue to take this forward, the GFS model actually showing this storm playing out a lot different, okay? Instead of a bunch of pop-up bean storms, it shows a line of storms forming across places like Louisiana, Mississippi, Tennessee, Kentucky, maybe getting as far north as Indiana. And then as we continue to take that forward, that will die down pretty quick, but then we start to see more pop-up storms across portions of the south. And then usually when you had like at least past 200 hours or even all the way, that's quite uncertain by this point. So we'll have to watch for a threat for severe weather. Like I said, let's go back to where that has developed, and it sounds like it's going to start off around the 150-hour area, which will be on January 23, so about 6 days out. Okay, yeah, I figured that out now. About 6 days out. But if we look at your total snowfall showing a little bit more snow for parts of Indiana, at least around the Evansville area, and then seeing even a lot more snowfall across the entire area of Indiana, especially up here towards South Bend and even Gary, Indiana, including Michigan City, and then back to much of Ohio, seeing anywhere from 1 to even as much as 4 inches of snowfall, maybe even 7 inches, so 1 to 8 inches across much of Ohio, and then lots of snowfall across West Virginia. We might see a little bit more snowfall across portions of Kentucky, especially around the Pikeville area, and then back through eastern Kentucky, really seeing those snowfall totals ramp up quite a bit, and then in parts of New England, it actually is showing a lot more snowfall. Wow, guys, wow. If you compare that to the European model, which is the ECMWF model, also known as the European model, let's go to total snowfall there, and look at that, guys. Didn't show as much snowfall in Watertown. Look, only as high as 12 inches. But now look at the GFS model. Look, 12 or even 21 inches there in Watertown. So not very good model agreement, guys. Not very good model agreement at all. But that lake effect snow could definitely cause those to ramp up to that measurement, at least 21 inches there in Watertown could be possible. Now, if we look at your guys' total rainfall, as you guys can see, parts of at least the northwest United States heading down into California is still seeing those really good rainfall totals. We got some really good model agreement with that we will be seeing a ton of rainfall across those areas. And then even back down here in the parts of Texas, even Louisiana and southern Arkansas, really seeing those rainfall totals ramp up quite a bit too as well. We expect anywhere from about 1 to even as much as 4 inches in some areas, especially around, let's see, Tyler, Texas is probably what I should say, especially around Tyler, Texas is about how much rainfall we expect. So we'll have to watch those areas very closely, and even some of that snowfall is definitely, I think that's counting as rainfall. Some of that snowfall is counting as rainfall there in parts of Indiana, and then anywhere else, not looking super bad, but still could be watched closely for at least some heavier rainfall. So, as we do take a look at your guys' temperatures, we will continue to have this Arctic black sticking around for the next couple of days or so, and then as that will finally head out pretty soon. It still continues sticking around for quite a while, and then that will finally head out, and then we start to see this warm front come through, and as you guys see, we start to see 50s, even 60s across here in Tennessee. Look at that, 63 in Nashville, Tennessee. So, I mean, that will be amazing for them, guys. That will just be amazing for Nashville, Tennessee, guys. That will be amazing. Amazing warm-up for Nashville, Tennessee right there. And then as we continue to take this forward, we'll see even more warm air move through, but then we'll start to see another cool down move through, and we're kind of uncertain by this point, but we'll have to still watch for like a 60s, 50s, if why not even a few 70s down here in parts of Florida. We'll have to watch for that type of warm-up. But thank you guys very much for watching. Hope you guys did enjoy this video. We'll keep you guys updated on any changes that do occur, but thank you guys very much for watching, and I'll do one tomorrow.